So a lot of you motherfuckers are short like myself. But the difference is that you guys struggle with confidence. Unlike myself, I couldn't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about being short. I've already accepted it. Now, previously, I was self-conscious. Previously, I would compare myself to other people and say, damn, I'm pretty short, bro. Why am I so short compared to other people? But now I've learned that it doesn't really matter. And the reason for why it doesn't matter is because it's something that you can't change. You can't affect your height. Now, I know what a lot of you fucking idiots are going to say. Oh, but you can get limb lengthening surgery. Bro, if you're thinking about getting limb lengthening surgery, you're probably fucking gay. You're probably a faggot. Like, you might as well, like, fucking just, you might as well give up on life. Don't get limb lengthening surgery, bro. I don't give a fuck if you're fucking 5 foot tall, bro. Accept it. It doesn't matter whether you're fucking 4 foot 5, 5 foot tall, 5 foot 5, whatever height you are. Accept your height for what it is. Don't go down the surgery route. That's all just fucking gay, bro. It's gay. It's gay. It's extreme. It's gay. That's all feminine, bro. Females get surgery. There's no point in getting fucking limb lengthening surgery. Forget about that shit. Forget about the idea of surgery. Focus on the things you can change. Unlike your height, you can change your weight. You can change your facial features for a little bit, right? You can change your haircut. You can change your beard if you have one. You can shave it off. You can let it grow. You can get a new hairstyle. You can do a few things facially. You can also do a lot of things physically, right? You can be in shape, you can lift some weights, do some cardio, eat healthy, take care of your temple, despite how short it is. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that once you realize that your height is set in stone, once you realize that it can't be changed, once you realize that you can't affect it in any way other than surgery, and you get that surgery idea out of your head, then you gotta play the cards you're dealt. God has blessed you with a certain height, whatever height that may be. You may be 4 foot 5, you may be 5 foot, you may be 5 foot 5. Whatever height you are, you have to realize that God blessed you with that height. You may not like it, but that's what you were given. That's the hand you were dealt. When you're in a poker game, if you're dealt 2-7, you gotta play the hand. Somebody else might have aces. Somebody else might be naturally 6 foot 5 and built like a motherfucking, tank. Who gives a fuck? You got 2-7, he's got aces. Have you guys seen a game of poker where 2-7 wins? I have. I've won with 2-7 before. Because sometimes in life, you can still win with a shit hand. Sometimes in life, despite the hand you have, you can still bluff your way through it. Now, when you bluff, that doesn't necessarily mean that you fake it till you make it. Bluffing simply means that you have a better skill than somebody else. And that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. If you're able to bluff your way through a poker game, skill-wise, you're better at that person at bluffing. You're better at that person despite them having aces. How could you become better than a person with aces if you have 2-7? Well, you improve the other aspects of your life. You improve your physicality. You improve the way you speak. You improve your looks, the ones you can change. You improve what you know, your knowledge. The guy who has 2-7 versus aces, like I said, the guy with 2-7 can bluff their way through it. And bluff doesn't necessarily mean that you're faking it till you make it. No, it literally means that you're more skillful than the guy with aces. Because if you weren't more skillful, the guy with aces would call you. Now, if the guy with aces doesn't call you, that means you scared him off. That means you won the hand. Why did you win the hand? Because you're more skillful. And when you apply the skill element to life, you realize that if you become more skillful at other aspects of your life, other than your height, you can still win with 2-7. Like your fitness, your health, the way you know, what you read, how you speak, the charisma that you have, the confidence that you carry yourself with, how you dress, what type of car you drive, how much money you have. Other aspects of your life can still be aces despite you having 2-7. That person may have aces initially from the jump, from the start. They may get their hand dealt with aces. They may be 6 foot 5 and built. But perhaps there are other aspects. Perhaps their other hands are going to be shit. And on a long enough time frame, if the majority of your hands are better than his hands, you're going to win the game. You're going to win the jackpot. You're going to have more chips on your side than on his side. You're going to end up winning. Now, is it going to be difficult? Yes, it is going to be difficult. Because if you're initially playing a game and you get 2-7 and he gets aces, well, then he has a head start, right? He got aces in the beginning. You got 2-7. It's going to be difficult for you. It's going to be very hard. But can you still win the game in the long run? Yes, you can. And when you truthfully realize that you have to play the cards you dealt, you quit giving a fuck about your height. You don't give a shit because you know you can't change it. Forget the surgery. Forget the fucking surgery shit. Bro, getting surgery, that's like folding your fucking hand. That's like pussing out. Why are you going to fold your 2-7 when you can still play with 2-7? You can still bluff your way through it if you have the skill. If you have the skill of being in shape. If you have the skill of being healthy. If you have the skill of being healthy. If you have the skill of knowledge. If you have the skill of charisma. If you have the skill of being confident. If you have the skill of being dressed nicely. If you have the skill of having money. If you have the skill of having a nice car. If you have the skill of having a good job. You can still win with 2-7. Even if you get it initially. Of course, a guy who's 6 foot 5 and built naturally is obviously going to have more attributes to him initially. But if he's not working on those other attributes that I mentioned, and you are, you can still beat him. Now, I'm not saying that working on every single aspect of your life will guarantee you the most beautiful girl in the world. If you're 5'5" and you're trying to go for a girl who's 6'2" and she's beautiful, you're probably not gonna get her because she's 6'2". Sometimes you have to be realistic in life. But the thing is, the guy who's 6 foot tall probably still can't even get the 6'2" girl, because that 6'2" girl is gonna go with a guy who's like 6'7". Now, of course, that's an outlier. But let's say, for example, a girl who's 5'5" and you're 5'5". There's a chance that she might like you if you have everything in order. But the most probable chance is that she's gonna go with a taller guy. But I have literally seen guys get with girls who are their height. I've been with a girl who was fucking 5'4". I'm 5'5", bro. 5'4", an inch shorter than me, an inch. So it's possible. It's possible, but you have to have the other aspects of your life in order. Now, of course, there's certain things that are superficial, like a car and having money, but that's the world we live in nowadays. Women like providers, and there's nothing wrong with having money, with having wealth, and being able to provide for a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. And the majority of guys that you see who are good looking and tall, they still do that anyways. All of the things that you would do if you were tall, do those even if you're short. All of the things that you would do if you were 6'5", do them if you're 5'5", or 5 foot, or 4'5". Because like I said, you can't change the hand you're dealt, but you can still win with it if you're skillful enough. And I'm not saying that by bluffing, you should be good at faking it till you make it. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm using the poker as an analogy. I'm using, take the skill part of it. Don't look at the bluffing. Don't look at the fake it till you make it. Take the skill part. If you have 2-7 in poker, you can still win the hand. Why? Because you're skillful. If you're skillful in life, you can still beat the other guys. Why? Because you're skillful at life. You're skillful on every single aspect of life. You can still win with a shit hand. You can still win with 2-7 if you're skillful in every single other aspect. You can still win despite being short. Now, of course, there's sometimes where you're just not going to be able to win. Sometimes in life, even in poker, you have 2-7, he has aces. You might be a really good bluffer. You might be really skillful. But perhaps the board, it's fucking quad aces. Sometimes you're just going to lose. And of course, this does happen sometimes. Sometimes in life, you're the guy who's 5 foot tall and you have every single checkbox marked off. But sometimes there's another guy who's 6'5" and they have those exact same checkboxes checked off. Now, why are they going to beat you? Because you're 5 foot and he's 6'5". You guys have the same boxes checked off. But what does he beat you at? The height. It is what it is. But those are the rare exceptions. How rare is it to get quad aces on a fucking poker table? Pretty fucking rare, right? How rare is it for a 6'5" guy to have every single aspect of his life in line? Pretty fucking rare, right? So, the overall point I'm trying to make here is that, yes, a guy who's taller than you will always beat you if he has every single aspect of his life as equal or more than yours. But, like I said, the majority of guys don't. The majority of guys are fucking losers, bro. The majority of guys, despite their height, despite the color of their eye, despite them being good looking, are fucking chumps, losers, fucking degenerates. They're fucking clowns, bro. A lot of these guys are fucking, working, shit ass jobs. They're fat as fuck. They never hit the gym. They're fucking playing video games. They're lazy pieces of shit. They're not funny. They have no charisma. They're not confident, despite the hand that God has blessed them with, despite the aces. So that means that if you're more skillful, you can beat them. Whether it's poker or in life, you can still win despite your shit hand, despite your height. You can still beat them. And the number one way to accept it is to realize that God has blessed you with a certain height and you can't change it. And once you realize that you can't change it, do all the things that you would do if you were 6'5". Because like I said, you can't change your height. So why worry about it? Why worry about approaching that girl if you can't change your height? And would you approach that girl if you were 6'5"? I mean, yeah, I would. So approach her anyways. Do the things that you would do despite being a short motherfucker. Fuck it. So you gotta say fuck it in life. Now, there's a few things that you might not want to do, right? Maybe you don't want to play basketball, right? You probably don't want to play basketball if you're fucking 5'5", 5 foot, or 4'5". You probably don't, bro. The majority of things in life, you can do them regardless of your height. But you have to realize, you have to instill it in your brain that you can't change it. Once you realize that it's set in stone, once you realize that you can't grow in height anymore, that's the day that your life is going to improve. Why? Because that's the day that you're going to want to improve your life. Why you're going to want to improve your life? Because that's the day that you're going to say to yourself, I'm 5'5", I can't change my height, but I can still change other aspects of my life. So I might as well do it. I might as well. I mean, if I was 6'5", I would do them. So I might as well do them despite being short. And that's going to give you the highest chance at succeeding in life. Once you realize that. And that's the best way to go about your life. Once things are final, once things are set in stone, it is what it is, bro. You can't change it. Let it be. Let it flow. Embrace it. Embrace your fucking height. Because once you embrace it, you'll feel a sense of confidence that you've never felt before. It wouldn't even cross your mind that you're short. It doesn't even cross my mind anymore. Like, I literally don't give a fuck. When I approach a girl, Me being shorter or taller or the same height as her, it doesn't even cross my fucking mind. I literally couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give her. I couldn't give a shit. I don't care anymore. Because like I said, once you realize that you can't change it, why are you gonna think about it? Why are you gonna let it affect your day-to-day life? Why are you gonna limit yourself with something you can't change? Why? And once again, don't get the surgery. Don't get the surgery, bro. I would not recommend getting that limb lengthening bullshit surgery. Fuck that all off. And once you stop limiting yourself, once you stop having that self-belief of I can't do it because I'm short, or I shouldn't do this because I'm short, or God didn't bless me with a taller height. Once you realize that those things don't matter, once you realize that you shouldn't limit yourself despite the circumstances that you're in, you're gonna live a much more fantastic fucking life.